Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I was just running from a count vote, hence the reason why I'm late. Thank you for the draft report that I had the pleasure to read yesterday. And I'm going to ask a few questions that I link that hopefully you can answer either now or in the final analysis, because some of them I'm assuming will require data. First, let me start with a political message. As Europeans, we cannot lag behind in the development of electrolytic hydrogen. I'm looking at what is happening in the USA. Despite, let's say, Trump's view on environmental protection, he still has continued with the $28 per kilowatt hour of renewable electricity, combined with the $3 per kilogram of electrolytic hydrogen, which essentially will mean that electrolytic hydrogen in the US will be de facto free because of the subsidies by end of this decade. That means in 3 or 4 years, which is a big challenge for industry, so we need to react. The first element that I understand has been discussed today already is the difference of the price between electrolytic hydrogen and fossil gas hydrogen. I urge all of my colleagues to look at page 34, where we see the importance of the price of gas there. I see that you have put three scenarios, 20 euros per megawatt hour of gas, then 40, then 60. Colleagues, 20 euros per megawatt hour of gas is, it's a Christmas miracle, I guess, because that is a price that we have not seen and will not see. And so we need to look as politicians more into, let's say, the 35 to 100 euro per megawatt hour. And I would therefore urge you to also look at 80 or 100 euros per megawatt hour cost, because that is sadly a cost that we've seen a lot in the EU gas market recently. And that we will see in the future because of our reliance on LNG and therefore on global price shocks that come as a result of that. Second question is on the... So I understand that you took the GRC 2020 data when it comes to, let's say, the life cycle analysis in terms of carbon, but that relies a lot on Russian gas and on Norwegian gas, while now increasingly we rely on US shale gas as a feedstock, or let's say as an element in the process. So I would urge you to look at this, because we know that US shale gas creates a lot of methane emissions in the USA, and we know that this is getting worse as a result of the cancellation of, de facto cancellation of the EPA and related legislation in the USA. Final point, which I would like you to answer already now, if possible, is the question on the economics of the different type of electrolyzer technology. Last time I checked, when I was still a researcher two years ago, I understood that PEM and alkaline tech had very different types of business models. And so I would like you to be a bit more granular there to see if we might have an interest in having, let's say, an electrolyzer that runs a few thousand hours a year, but with very cheap electricity, or whether it makes more sense to have an electrolyzer that may be a bit more costly and therefore will have to run 6,000 to 7,000 hours a year. Thank you.